Hi folks, hope you've all had a great Christmas. It must be a leap year because I've only gone and drawn peg 5, haven't I? Acorn, Ace of Acorn qualifier, peg 5. So already had loads of stick, haven't I? So it won yesterday actually, it was a match yesterday it won, but only by £1, so we'll see. Pressure on, see you in a bit. Oh, we started. It's a bit of a whisper, lads, but apparently they started 10 o'clock. You call me tosser, just wait till I leave the car park, alright? So we fed a little bit of neat maggot in the deep water and then on the second shelf before we go straight across. Across is no good as we expected, but it allows those other two lines to just settle a little bit, doesn't it? So it wasn't long before we binned off across altogether. I didn't really think they'd be in that depth, but it's one of those you've got to have a look really, just in case. You've got to cover all your depths. So on to the second shelf. But this turned out to be worryingly slow, to be honest. So 30 minutes in and we're on our deep water line. And quite a few people caught a few fish. We're 40 minutes in to the match and I'm going to refeed that deep water as we're still fishless. Others around us have probably, well, Joanne round to my left on peg sevens caught 3 big fish already. At last. So this fish fell to just a single maggot over those few maggots we put in earlier. And on our side traded day, I got a tin of corn, which as you can probably see is unopened, hoping not to need it. We got about half a pint of fluoro pinkies, a pint of red maggots, and about a pint of micros. And I got a handful of expanders as well. So it's not solid across on the second shelf. So we've gone down in the deep water and we've had one there as well, which is good news. So we know we've got 2 lines now that, although not prolific at the moment, 2 lines we can start to work with. So just checking the time, and we're actually an hour in, and I always allow myself that hour, the first hour, to sort things out and sort of try to suss your peg out. This way you take pressure off yourself. So you just got to have your blinkers up a little bit, ignore others and stick to your little game plan. Long as at the end of the first hour you've got a bit of a plan on what you're going to do now and how to go forward, you're all right. As I say, it takes pressure off yourself. It's feels like it has a little bit more weight. He just shook his head then. That's more like it. That's about £10 that. So I cut a bit of time out as we tried the deep water several times and it's been poor. So with 90 minutes to go, we decided to feed our inside 3.5 foot line, as the deep water is just not happening and our second shelf has slowed a lot. We've kept mixing the feed up to catch fish and found that if we have a feed whole cab pot when the fish aren't there and then go back to it, we can catch a few, and then as it tails off and sort of feels like it's over, you can then cab pot sort of half a dozen, 8 or so maggots, and fish over that, and you can sort of winkle 1 or 2 more out before having to give it a full cab pot and come away from it. But 5 minutes across and nothing is a bit of a concern. As peg 9, Brian, is catching really well over there. So I've plumbed up and fed at the same time there a new line to the right on the second shelf. And then it's back to our original line whilst we let the new line settle. So the new line, we tried it and it was no good, which is no surprise really, because I think those fish are coming into my peg from my left and not from my right. So I've gone back to the original line again for now. So we had to wait quite a long time there.
He's a professional at it, isn't he? Professional moaner. Does some angling. That right, Graham?
Now you probably notice we're back on the white hydro as well for across the fish. It's just not really that cold, is it, for December? It's ridiculous, isn't it, this year? What if we had 2 frosts? So we feed the original line again and we try the new line a second time.
Another line, I started it towards you. Towards you, line. Chances of that going under?
Yeah, I definitely feel like the fish are coming in from our left, so I'm now plumbing up to the left. And the reason I was a little reluctant to do so earlier is when I had a good plumb around at the start of before the start of the match, it's just really all over the shop. The shelf isn't very nice at all, and I don't really want to fish somewhere and draw fish on it just to foul hook. But we've had to start this line. So as you've seen just now, we had our first fish down the inside with about 25 minutes to go. Now we're into our second one. I'm really pleased this line's kicked in because it's getting late in the day, and that was definitely slowing across. The inside's kicked in a lot later than I'd anticipated, if I'm honest. And apologies, the float tip is like a yellow tip, and it's difficult to see on camera. They're not massive fish, not as big as I'd liked down the edge, not being greedy or anything, but it's always nice to get some big boys in it. But they're definitely bigger than what we've been catching across. I think the average stamp is certainly a couple of pound bigger, which is good news. We're fishing a 4B12 down the inside compared to a 4B10 across, and you've also probably noticed we're using grey hydro down the inside rather than the white we were using across. And so to couple with that, we got an 014 hook length down the inside, whereas across again we were using lighter with an 012 hook length. I try and use the same tackle as I've said before a lot of times, and you get used to how much stick you can give it. Every day is different, isn't it? Never ever go to a match, with premeditated ideas. Um, Enter every match with an open mind. So the inside's gone quiet now and needs a little bit of a rest, even at this late stage in the match. So back across on that sort of new line. It's not prolific over there, but when we give it a little rest and go over there, you can more or less guarantee you're going to catch one. They're not lining up, but it's still a rocket ship, isn't it? Lovely fishing. So we had just the one across. We did look for a second one, but no go. So tapped a few maggots in across there and then just came back down that edge again, just giving it that little rest. Managed another one. We did try expanders down there. That's sort of what I was hoping to catch on, but hasn't really happened. So we did switch it to maggots and that's what got us to start catching really. Just seems right at the moment, doesn't it? Maggots.
Fish on. Whoa. Fish on. Good. Go. You've got a fish every foot the last 2 hours. Go on then, Brian, like the last. Go on, Brian, like one of yours. Right, what do you think you got there? What you got? What? Yeah, you're about 30 pound out. That fish has just put me over the turn. Behave yourself this time, mind Des. When I got home, I would expect that I did lap my said to my missus, come and have a look at this.
I said, is Bob's thing gone out on YouTube? They said we got me doing that in the fucking cafe. On its side, remember? Yeah, Bob edited that out. He got more views if he left it in, I reckon. He would have had a lot more views.
I did leave it in, it went all last night.
You should have left it on.
I have left it on.
Oh, you have?
Yeah, you have a look. I laughed my tits off when I got to it, I had no idea.
I bet they put, fucking hell, they know him well.
Angelo was giving it that as well.
£30 free. That's it. Disqualification.
That's it. Done that now, Violet. Steve Long, fucking man.
You're waiting anymore, does he?
He's still doing it, isn't he? Yeah. He's waiting here. He did it last week.
£50 1 ounce. £50 1 ounce.
That's a bit more nice thought, isn't it?
Slippery, slippery, slipper. Where is he? I don't see on that fucking end of the lake very often, Brian. I don't see on that end of the lake very often.
I've got the same last week, Bob. I got fucking absolute screwed for that. I don't listen
Well,
to
if
him.
he
He
did
goes
win
over
off
his
the
nets
beer.
every fucking week. Give him a halibut. Give him a halibut. He gave it.
Well, what a time to draw the absolute screamer. Isn't quite the peg it was a few weeks back, but I don't want to say that because it's a great peg all the time. Peg 9 pushed me close though, to be fair. He's had £123, but we've won the match with £132. So in the process, we've been qualified for the Ace of Acorn nice and early as well. So ideal. Just going to go to the shop now, collect our winnings. Thanks for watching, everybody. See you soon.